Okay, welcome to another revision video for IGCSE Maths Extended. Now, my class are getting ready for mock exams at the moment, and these are just a few of the questions that have cropped up along the way. So the first one here is the length of time, t seconds, that the pendulum in the clock takes to swing is given by this formula. Rearrange the formula to make G the subject. You can see in this question that it's not so nice because G is in the denominator, it's got a power attached to it, it's also in a square root. Okay, so we need to really unpick all of that and get the G on its own. The first thing that I can do is to get rid of this whole fraction. Okay, so probably what I'd first of all do in this question, what I would do actually, is I would be timesing by that denominator on both sides. And what that would do is I would end up with this heading over here and be t multiplied by the square root of 1 plus g squared, which equals 6. Okay, now as I said, I've got to unpick the rest of it. I'd probably move the t at this point, so I'd end up with just the square root would be equal to 6 divided by t. The square root's now the next thing to unpick to get rid of around the g. Okay, so I square both sides. That's the way that we would it's the inverse operation of square root, isn't it? So we get 1 plus g squared. If I square that side, I would have to square this side as well. And still a couple more jobs to do. I'm running out of room. Let's come over here. I could take away the 1 to get the g squared on its own. It would be 6 over t all squared minus 1. And then there's one last step. As we said earlier, the inverse of squaring is to square root. So I would be square rooting that whole right-hand side. So it would be 6 over t all squared minus 1. Pretty daunting to look at, isn't it? But there we go. If we do it step by step and do it in a logical order, then we should get to that final result. Okay, so 6 over t squared minus 1, all in the square root. 4 marks there. Okay, so there's big marks available if you know what you're doing. Next one. Okay, now my class are really still getting to grips with this. With their laws of indices. Okay, so it's all about the practice here. We've got 27 x to the power 6. The whole thing, crucially, is to the power of 1/3. So that means that both of those elements in this bracket are, the power is applied to both of those things. So we've got 27 to the power of 1/3, and we've got x to the power 6 to the power of 1/3. Okay, in that product. If we raise something to the power of 1/3, okay, there is a rule that if I have the mth root of a, that is a to the power 1 over m. Okay, I should probably make that m a little bit smaller. It's the mth root. So for instance, like the square root, the cube root, whatever it is, this is the cube root. This is the power 1/3, i.e. it's the cube root of 27. Now the cube root of 27 is a very simple value. Okay, it's 3. And if I have this situation going on here, it's this rule as well. So if I have a power on this base and I raise it to another power, then it's just the powers multiplied together. Okay, so in this case, 6 times 1/3 is 2, so it's just this. So actually what we end up with is 3x squared, which is much simpler than what we can see here, 3x squared. And in the second one, we've got quite a bit more going on. All right, this one. It's all about base 2, so I really need to think about what 512 is as a base of 2. Let's think about this. So 512, I do have my calculator in the exam, so I could do a bit of trial and error. And 2 to the power of 8 is 256, so I reckon it's 2 to the power of 9. Let's try that. Yes, okay. So using my calculator, I know that 2 to the power of 9 is 512, so I can actually just replace that 512 in there by 2 to the power of 9. It's still raised to the power of minus 2/3. And it's just this rule again, isn't it? If I multiply 9 by minus 2/3, then I am going to get an answer of negative 6. Okay, so that is 2 to the power of negative 6. Hence, now some people would write in here 2 to the power of negative 6. I've seen that happen, but look very carefully that after p, and p is just the power, so p is just negative 6. We'll get you those answers. We'll get you the marks there, okay? And obviously marks for working as well. And last but not least, okay, this is an upper and lower bounds question. The clue here is that this word here, nearest. Okay, so the distance between Singapore and Sydney is 6,300 kilometres, correct to the nearest 100 kilometres. That's what I'm going to hone in on first, because whatever it's the nearest of, okay, in this case it's 100 kilometres, my first step is to divide that by 2 and I get 50 kilometres. Okay, so you look for that word nearest, whatever comes after it, half it. Okay, that's going to be part of my working out. It says that this person went 6,300 kilometres to the nearest 100 kilometres. So to get the upper and lower bounds, we take this and we add and subtract it. So I'm going to add 50 kilometres. I'm going to take away 50 kilometres. And that is going to provide me with my upper and lower bounds. My lower bound, my upper bound. I've got 6,250 here and I've got 6,350 here. Okay, now some people don't like this upper bound. They say, why is it not 6,349? But the thing is, you can get infinitely close to 6,350. You can have like 6,349.999999999. It's still not quite there, but you would still round it to 6,300. And therefore, this is like exactly that. It's the boundary, okay? It's the boundary. It's the place at which you would round again, okay? These are the rounding values, okay? We would round up here to 6,400, okay? We would round up here to 6,300, but that's not the case. These are just the boundaries, okay? All right, so what's the question? Let's read it back. It says, a businessman traveled from Singapore to Sydney and then back to Singapore. Okay, the distance between is 6,300. He did this 6 times in a year. Between what limits is the total distance he traveled? Now, let's read it very carefully. He went from Singapore to Sydney and then back to Singapore, and the distance between them is 6,300 to the nearest 100. We found the upper and lower bounds. He did this 6 times a year. I'm not going to multiply it by 6, am I? Because it's a return trip. It's a bit of a trick question, actually, this one. I would say he did 6 return trips. So I'm actually going to times it by 12 to get those upper and lower bounds. So very carefully on the calculator, 6,250 multiplied by 12 is 75,000. I can imagine a lot of students would just times that by 6 and not read the question carefully enough. And the 6,350 multiplied by 12 gives us 76,200. Okay. So there are my 2 answers to that question. I hope you're enjoying these videos. I will aim to get some more out there for revision for the mock exams. Please don't forget to subscribe if you are enjoying these. It does help others to find my videos, and feel free to comment too. Okay, thank you. Hope it was helpful.